The joint appearance yesterday at the FT conference of the chiefs of the CIA and MI6, Bill Burns and Richard Moore, was, of course, visually very exciting, but there's very little that they actually said in practice. I think there are four major points, and the key points, the actual editorial that they wrote in the Financial Times was pretty well repetitive verbiage. The interview that they gave was perhaps a little bit more interesting, but essentially there was very little there. I'll summarize it. I think it comes down to 4 points. First of all, the efforts towards a ceasefire and a hostage deal in Gaza. Bill Burns discussed the ongoing efforts to negotiate a ceasefire and a hostage release between Israel and Hamas, and both secret services are actively engaged in trying to get both outcomes. There was, of course, a huge crowd out on the streets yesterday in Israel calling for hostage release and defying Prime Minister Netanyahu. And Bill Burns emphasized that success depends on political will, acknowledging that while 90% of the proposed framework has been agreed on, that remaining 10%, the most difficult part, still requires resolution. And Burns reiterated the human cost of the conflict, particularly for hostages and civilians in Gaza. The second point is the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and both leaders praised their respective agencies' joint efforts in warning of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 before it happened. Burns highlighted Ukraine's recent Kursk offensive as a morale booster and a tactical achievement, signaling vulnerabilities that weren't anticipated in Russia's military strategy, and sending a profound message of want to the Kremlin. However, both Burns and Moore noted that while these actions dented Putin's narrative, his grip on power remains strong. Neither of them, incidentally, commented on the idea that Mr. Putin may no longer be around. The third point is China and the geopolitical risks, and Moore described China's rise under Xi Jinping as the key challenge in the 21st century, necessitating an intelligent focus on countering China's growing influence, particularly its involvement in dual-use technology that aids, for example, Russia's defense capabilities. Burns added that while direct Chinese military support to Russia has not been confirmed, indirect assistance poses a significant risk. And our job, I think, is to restore a proper relationship between the West and China. Rather than thinking of negatives, we should think of positives. The fourth point is the technological collaboration and future threats. And the discussion emphasized the importance of technological innovation, particularly the use of AI and data and analytics to maintain intelligence advantages. And both men were reverentially referring to Alan Turing and how he electrocuted himself on many occasions. Both leaders pointed out the increasing complexity of modern warfare and intelligence, where traditional military action is intertwined with cyber warfare, open source intelligence, and advanced battlefield technology. The joint appearance highlights the enduring and evolving US-UK intelligence partnership in an increasingly unstable global environment. And the focus on Ukraine, Russia, the Middle East demonstrates the Chief of Staff's commitment to addressing both traditional military threats and modern challenges such as AI and cyber warfare. The tone, oddly, of the meeting was optimistic rather than pessimistic, which I think is something to acknowledge, and it's a reason to take heart.